ACH debits are a convenient and inexpensive way to transfer money directly from a user's bank account, but they come with the risk of ACH returns. While most ACH transfers are successful, they can be returned, often due to insufficient funds, closed accounts, or sometimes an end user marking a transaction as unauthorized. Wouldn't it be great if you had some kind of crystal ball to predict if a transaction will be returned? Well, it turns out data centers don't really store those, but we do have the next best thing, Signal Transaction Scores, part of the Plaid Signal Payment Risk Platform. The Signal platform is a product family that covers two important products: Balance, which checks your user's account balance in real time, and Signal Transaction Scores, which uses ML algorithms to predict the chance that a transaction will be returned. Today, we'll talk about Signal Transaction Scores. To get started with Transaction Scores, head over to the Plaid dashboard and click on the Signal panel. If you don't see it here, talk to a Plaid representative and have them enable it for you. Go to the Rules page. Next, create a rule set. There are two types that you can start with. Select the one on the left here to start using scores. This will generate a set of rules for evaluating transactions based on similar customer profiles. A lot of Signal's evaluations use these two scores here, the Consumer Risk Score and the Bank Risk Score. The consumer score is based on the account activity and determines the risk of a return because of a dispute. Common factors include whether the account has had disputed transactions in the past or unusual identity information patterns. The bank score is based on the account's balance and helps determine the risk of administrative or insufficient fund returns. Common factors include how many overdraft transfers the user has had in the past and historical balance rates. These are both based on a score from 1 to 100, with a higher score being riskier. Save this rule set, give it a name and a key to identify it later. And of course, this is just a starting point. You can change these if you want, add additional rules, or set up different rule sets for different sets of users, all right here from the dashboard. Then in your app, go ahead and create a link token like normal. Make sure to add Signal to the products array alongside any other Plaid products you need. Go through the usual link process and exchange the public token you get back for an access token. Because Signal works best when it's had time to ingest historical account data, start this process as early as you can. When your user is ready to make a transfer, call Signal Evaluate. Pass along the access token, a client transaction ID, which is a unique identifier for this transaction, a client user ID, which can help us track attempts by the same user, the amount, and whatever additional information you have about the user and the transaction being created. If you've been using Signal for balance calls, you've probably been doing this already. Finally, make sure to include the key to the rule set you created earlier. Plaid will then evaluate the request. Since this is based on data we've already collected, the response will be much faster than a real-time balance-based rule. What you'll get back is a large data object that contains the two risk scores and the overall decision based on your rule set, whether to accept the transaction or reroute to a different payment method. You can also mark a transaction to be reviewed manually. You'll also see all the other data that factored into this decision, which you probably don't need unless you're building your own fancy risk models. Now, when you're done, make sure you follow up with Plaid. If a transaction was marked as review, use the Signal Decision Report endpoint to note whether or not you decided to approve or reject the transaction. And if a transaction does end up getting returned, use the Signal Return Report endpoint to let Plaid know. We use this information to improve our models, as well as populate useful reports in the dashboard like what percentage of transactions are accepted by your rules, your overall return rate, and so on. And if you decide to adjust these rule sets, we can use this historical data to help you see the projected impact of these changes so you can determine what settings are right for you. All of which means lower ACH return rates for you, and we can use those crystal balls for other things, like building our fantasy football team. This has been Signal Transaction Scores in, let's say 3.5 minutes. To find out more about Signal, make sure to check out the documentation and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exciting videos like this one. Happy plaiding!